Get on that side. Yo, dudes, welcome to another episode of the Road FS podcast. We are live
at the Rupes Training Center in Louisville, Colorado.
And
so we got the ADA training.
That's
ADA
right. This
with
is
the myth, the legend, Mr. Brett Berry, Shiny Jets, man, dude.
So this is huge. There's like over 20 students here. We actually have helicopters in the building. If you haven't seen, which is you're living under a rock if you haven't seen that, because that was pretty epic. I mean, I'm going to have to say probably the most epic entrance of a training ever to have helicopters in there.
Yeah.
So
we couldn't get a jet on the run.
Right. They wouldn't let us bring it in. So
let me clarify. So the ADA is the Aviation Detailing Association. So in case you guys don't know ADA,
So this is really exciting. Rupes has opened their doors to the ADA, right? I mean, Josh Hernandez had this vision a little over a year ago. You two connected, and you guys just have like the synergy between the two of you is phenomenal.
Well, I had planned on doing what Josh was going to do. He's the founder of the ADA, and he already had a lot of things set in play. And I'm over here doing this, filming, building courses. And I'm like, why don't we just put this together? Especially because Josh's experience as an AMP-IA mechanic, where I don't have any certifications in aviation. So it really, it brings me up a level. And then my personal experience for detailing aircraft for 16 years, selling to companies and training over 80 students already around the world. So that helped out.
It's insane. You know, it was interesting because Rod and I went to the Houston training where it was just Josh. And then to come to this training where you guys were doing it in tandem. And there was really good synergies from the perspective of the mechanic, but also the detailer, and bringing those in, because I think one of the biggest challenges in the industry today that the ADA is trying to absolve is the level of expertise that is required and knowledge to detail these planes, because you're basically an extension of the maintenance team.
So I was always working with mechanics. So Josh didn't, and all my trainings I had reviewed by an AMP-IA mechanic, actually just like Josh's. But so when I built this training, Josh didn't really have to tweak anything. So we didn't have a ton of time to come together, and we just kind of went in there and did it, because he knew what I've done and I know what he's done. And I was able to make sure that everything, and as I always has, complies with federal aviation standards. Right?
So this is actually, in a year, this has come a long ways, because it's not just about detailing, right? I mean, everybody thinks, well, it's the same thing. It's just another, surface. It's true. It is another surface. It's got a different substrate to it. There's rivets, but it's all of the safety. I mean, the number one concern is the safety of the passengers and the pilots that are going to be taking this aircraft out when it's done. And you don't really, you think about it, but you don't think about it. If somebody brings in mom's minivan and you blow out the interior and you do an exterior wash, you're not thinking about safety aspects of that. Every single thing you touch, you're thinking about it. So it's a unique training in that sense, because it takes on a higher level of responsibility for the detailer. But at the same time, it's a really exciting thing that's going on in the market right now, because this is really it's not untapped. You've been doing this for 100 years. But it is just now coming kind of to the forefront, if you will, and being more vogue to be into aircraft.
Yeah, well, I think what's untapped, though, is the quality of work in the industry. It sucks. So that's what really ticked me off and made me start the trainings. And then also, just after that, was the products in the aviation industry are not great. They're not user-friendly. They don't preserve the aircraft as well. So that's why I came out with the Fly Shiny product line, to solve a lot of aircraft detailers' problems. That's all we do as entrepreneurs, as business owners, just solve problems. But also Josh's explaining and articulating all the liabilities and all that stuff, and stuff that you're exposed to. And we have to think that, like you mentioned, cars don't leave the ground.
Right,
Boats don't
right,
leave the water.
right.
And boats aren't supposed to. I've gone airborne to boats before.
Yeah.
But aircraft can't just pull over. What is Josh says? An aircraft can't pull over in the clouds, right?
Right,
So,
right.
And I would say it's the jet takes off, turns into a bullet, then they slow down the bullet and land. So there's a lot going on there.
Yeah. And it's different. The components are different. The things you have to, there's a lot more curved surfaces and everything. This is unique as well because you're different. You don't have the same traditional landing gear as you have on, for instance, a private jet or even a commercial jet. That the landing gear on these is basically a skid.
Yep.
So the uniqueness of this particular training is unreal. I don't know if I've ever seen anybody detailing helicopters, and these are not chump helicopters. These are nice. I mean, this thing's got a beautiful paint job on it. Interior, everything. So when people walk away from this, they're going to have a new level of understanding. Just a second ago, Jason asked a raise of hands of anybody that ever polished on any kind of aircraft, and there were only about 4 of us in the room, and I know that 2 of us we're not professional detailers. We're software nerds. So I think that is something that really brings a level of a higher level of training is what I'm trying to get to, because not only are we doing this, but we're going to be taking a trip to an airport and looking at a smaller aircraft as well, and looking at leading and trailing edges and all kinds of pieces that automobiles do not have.
Yes.
So this is, you said it earlier, how long have you been working on aircraft?
This month, 16 years.
So 16 years of experience detailing. Josh brings with him the military background, pilot, the highest level of aeronautics mechanic you can get. That is just like this dream combination of stuff.
Yeah.
What do you guys, I mean, I know we have another training in October.
September.
That's right. Coming up in September. If people want to get involved in this, I can tell you for sure there are 4 people in this training that I personally talked to. One of them I talked to in January, and they tried to secure their spot. So if you want to get involved in these trainings, you got to get into them early because they fill up fast.
Yeah, we didn't even advertise this training, and it filled up before we even had a chance to put together flyers and everything. It sold out. We've got some students already signed up for the September class.
Yeah.
And so it's going to fill up quick. And then we've got additional trainings that are more advanced for the different surfaces on aircraft. So CD1 and CD2. So they'll go into in-depth like bright work restoration, window polishing, wool carpet cleaning, which we don't have wool carpet.
You don't have wool carpet in cars,
so
right?
It's completely different. You're dealing with pHs and you're dealing with fire retardants and all sorts of things that need to be complied with, as well as leather cleaning and all that stuff. So those will be the more higher level trainings. But first you have to take the basic training, which is like this and at Houston, and then we'll have those other trainings coming out shortly after.
And I think that is a very key point that you hit on, is that these surfaces, all these substrates you're working on, whether it's interior, exterior, the props, the landing gear, all that, they all have to retain the manufacturer's specifications when you're done with them.
Yeah.
For aerodynamics, for performance, for longevity, for corrosion, for everything. So you can't just slap on some stuff you bought down at the local hardware store.
Correct.
This is not an industry you want to get into if you want to get into it quick and dirty.
Yeah.
You got to commit 100% and go into it. So
for instance, like later we'll be doing de-ice boots, and on the props there'll be electric de-icers, but the de-ice boots are BF Goodrich on the wings, but the electric de-icers on the propellers are from the propeller manufacturer. So you actually have to call the propeller manufacturer and see how they want those de-icers maintained versus. So you might have 2 different products that you have to use on de-icers on one single tank.
And this is one of those. We talk about it a lot in the details of the roundtable, is the low ego emissions. You have to completely bury your ego on this, because you're going to run into something you don't know. Like you said, 2 different surfaces from 2 different manufacturers, and even yesterday there was a confusion about tire dressing, no tire dressing. Even if the client says, I want you to do X, Y, Z, they may not know that that's going to totally screw up that plane's manufacturer's recommendations.
Or the warranty.
Or the warranty.
So then the aircraft don't like. So for instance, I have a King Air, and they're typically BF Goodrich boots, but for some reason, like 2 years, they used a different style of boot. And if I put BF Goodrich on those de-ice boots, and there's an issue with those de-ice boots, they're just going to say, oh, you used the wrong products. Those aren't under warranty. And it could go further. Some aircraft, the service I do on them extends the airframe warranty on a $65 million jet.
See, and that is, I think that's the key is it's a lot of knowledge and it's a lot of being humble and finding things out. Plus, you're not necessarily working with the direct customer. A lot of times you're working with a maintenance technician or an FBO or somebody that owns a hangar or something like that where you're dealing with a different clientele. So do your homework, get signed up for these trainings. They're phenomenal. I learned so much in the first one we went to that was just incredible. And we learn something at every training we ever go to. But this has got so many different aspects about, the way the interiors come apart really easily, which can be great for cleaning, but also bad for putting it back together. And you got to know what you're doing. Removing certain things you're not going to do. You are not certified to remove certain parts of these aircraft, regardless of whether you want to or not.
Yeah, you can't take out a screw and put it back in.
Right. Period. At all.
No.
It's like you see a lot of people taking off wheels and tires on cars that they're probably not even certified to do that. And yet alone, you take a Porsche GT3 or something like that, a $300,000 car, pop off a wheel on that thing and think, oh, I'll just put it back on. You may have just completely blown the warranty on that car. This is millions of dollars and lives at stake.
So man, it like Rod said, if you're even interested in aviation detailing, you need to join the ADA, get certified, trained by Mr. Brett Berry and Josh Hernandez, and
Jason Rose.
And Jason Rose, of course, and Sarah.
Sarah, there you go. There you go, Sarah.
One of our favorite people in the world. So yeah, like Rod said, I think it's September 14th, 15th is the weekend. That's
September 14th and 15th. Go out and look online. We'll be posting some stuff later on as well. We'll put up the flyer for it. But it's a great training in Houston's a great facility too. Is that the same one we did before?
At Lone
I
Star.
haven't been to that one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's nice.
Oh, the Lone Star is absolutely beautiful. You could eat off the floor.
Yeah,
it's beautiful facility.
Cool.
So get signed up for it. It's a good time to go to Houston. It's not going to be too hot.
Yeah, it's always hot in Houston. Anyway, well, thank you guys so much for tapping in. We'll probably go live once or twice more. Thank you, Brad, for everything you do for the industry. And you guys can see, these guys are busy. They're getting down, working on these things. So we will check you guys a little bit later. So, sweet.